Good evening. You are watching the news from the Sultanate of Oman Television. First, the headlines. The Ministry of Oil and Gas announces the new pricing for oil products for September with a slight increase. World Tourism Organization puts the Sultanate among the best 10 Arab countries in terms of tourism revenues. And main sectors in the Sultanate, such as banking, oil and gas, are achieving high Omanization rate in all job levels. Those were the headlines. Now for the news in detail. His Majesty Sultan Qaboos has sent a cable of greetings to His Excellency President Andrzej Kiska of Slovakia on his country's National Day. The committee in charge of studying and fixing the sale price of oil products in the Sultanate today approved the new pricing for oil products, regular, super and diesel, for September 2016. The committee fixed the sale prices of M95 Super Petrol for September at 170 paisa. The price of M90 regular was set at 161 paisa, and the price of a liter of diesel was set at 176 paisa. The Sultanate is among the best 10 Arab countries in terms of tourism revenues. This was stressed by World Tourism Organization after the Sultanate registered more than $1.5 billion in tourism revenues. This came to reflect the government's plans to diversify the sources of income and develop the tourism facilities. Meanwhile, the number of visitors to the governorate of Dhofar during this Kharif season exceeded 600,000 tourists from inside and outside the Sultanate, achieving a growth rate of 21% compared to the same corresponding period last year. The results of visitor counting, which started in 23rd of June, showed that the number of Omani visitors reached more than 447,000 visitors, representing 74% of the total number of visitors. Tourists from Gulf Cooperation Council countries represented 16%, as Arab visitors from Arab countries amounted to 12,000 tourists. The number of agents who visited the governorate of Dhofar increased by 4%. Starting from tomorrow, the updated executive regulation of the Omani tourism law, approved by His Excellency Ahmed bin Nasser Al Mahrazi, Minister of Tourism, will be applied in different authorities, establishments and offices which belong to the Omani tourism sector. The new regulation stipulates on facilitating procedures and applying guidelines to set up incentive policies to small and medium enterprises and to direct and foreign investment in the touristic sector in the Sultanate. It will also facilitate procedures of issuing licenses for hotel facilities and diversifying choices, categories, and prices of hotels. The new amendments to the updated regulation is the first step towards developing the necessary policies and strategies to enhance the Omani touristic sector, besides Omani Strategic Tourism Program 2040, in preparation to legislate the new tourism law. The Sultanate's development march has achieved a great success in various fields, stemming from a strategy based on gradual growth. Omanization represents one of the main economic development programs in the country. The government has focused on Omanization policy in private sector through providing job opportunities for youth after being qualified and trained to be a main pillar for the sector's establishments to achieve success and competitiveness. Some sectors succeeded in Omanizing some jobs along with upgrading the performance, making them on top of the private sector's establishments that achieve increasing annual profits. Main sectors in the Sultanate, such as banking and oil and gas, are proud of achieving high Omanization rate in all job levels. This made them an example that many experts call to be followed in other sectors. Omanis represent more than 92% of cadres of banking sector. Also, oil and gas succeeded in Omanizing most of its jobs, as Omanis represent more than 78% of those working in the sector's companies. In insurance sector, the number of Omanis exceeded 68%, while they represent more than 90% in the telecommunications sector at the end of 2015. Refineries and petroleum industries companies succeeded in attracting Omani youth, who represent 75.7% in these companies. The Sultanate in its public sectors also succeeded in achieving high Omanization rate in various jobs, including specialized ones such as education, health, and media establishments. In total, Omanis working in the private sector amounted to 200,620 workers. However, the number should be increased as the private sector represents a great significance in achieving economic development, especially as many jobs are being occupied by more than 1.6 million expatriates in various specializations, topped by engineering and supporting professions, with 97,000 expatriates till the end of 2015. In a previous bulletin, the economic expert Ahmed bin Saeed Kshoub stressed that the reason behind the success of banking, oil and gas sectors is attributed to achieving high Omanization rate, where the approach of training, qualification, then recruitment is applied. He called to further develop the Omani work law and the Omanization policy to keep abreast with international laws in terms of its capability in diversification of economy and operation. Manpower Department, in cooperation with companies working in the Governorate of Buraymi, employed more than 160 citizens in the private sector during the first half of the current year. The Department of Employment in the Governorate is working to find good job opportunities for job seekers in companies through continuous visits to those companies. Still to come in our news bulletin. The National Defense College celebrated the opening of the 4th National Defense Course. Welcome back to the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. The Syrian military's media center today released footage of what they said was a shelling of the besieged towns of Kafraya and Foua. Syrian news agency Sana reported that the two towns in northern Idlib were shelled yesterday by Syrian armed groups. Sana said that the armed groups fired over 150 mortar shells from launchers in El Suwaiqiyya area on residential neighborhoods in the two towns, injuring 5 civilians, including a woman and a child. The attacks also caused material damage to the houses and properties of local residents, and particularly to water tanks. Abdurraqib Saif Fatah, Yemen's Minister of Local Administration, said that reconstruction of war-torn Yemen could cost 15 billion US dollars. Fatah said on the sidelines of a workshop on Yemen's post-war recovery that the World Bank estimates around $15 billion, and the war has left Yemenis suffering from shortages of food, water, sanitation, and healthcare. Fatah, who is also chairman of Yemen's High Relief Committee, spoke at the two-day workshop on post-conflict recovery and reconstruction in Yemen. It was attended by international donors and organized by Yemen's government and the Gulf Cooperation Council. The six-member GCC in December pledged a global conference on the reconstruction of Yemen after a political solution to the war is reached. A small bomb exploded on a main road near the eastern Lebanese city of Zahli today, killing at least one person and wounding 11 others. A driver of a passing bus that had shrapnel embedded in its side said that 5 people had been wounded on board when the blast went off. Lebanon has been hit by a wave of explosions over the past 3 years as Syria's civil war spilled over into its neighbor, killing scores of people. The explosion came on a day when thousands of people were heading from the eastern Bekaa Valley to the southern port city of Tyre to participate in a rally marking the anniversary of the disappearance of a top cleric who went missing during a visit to Libya in 1978. Brazil's Senate is expected to vote today to dismiss President Dilma Rousseff, finalizing a 9-month impeachment process and confirming the country's shift to the center-right with the end of 13 years of leftist. Workers' Party rule, Rousseff's supporters seemed resigned to the likelihood that more than 2/3 of the 81-member Senate would convict her of breaking budget laws, while opponents hailed the chance to turn the page on a drawn-out economic and political crisis. Brazil's first female president has denied any wrongdoing and said the impeachment process was aimed at protecting the interests of the country's economic elite. If Rousseff is convicted as expected, a tricky transition would fall to her conservative former vice president Michel Temer, who will finish out her term through to 2018. Central Bank of Oman stressed that 6% is the maximum rate of the interest on the personal loan. It came in a statement by His Excellency Hamoud bin Sanjour Az-Zajjali, Executive President of the Central Bank of Oman, CBO, who added that there is no plan to change the loan systems. CBO instructed commercial banks in the Sultanate to be committed that the personal loan should not exceed more than 50% of the bank's loan amount allocated for the purpose. Oman Housing Bank stated that there is no direct effects on the bank borrowing plan due to the decrease of oil prices. The bank stressed that it allocated a budget for the housing loans as same as the last year's, indicating that the number of the approved loans since the beginning of the current year till the end of July reached 839 loans, with total amount around 40 million Omani riyals, while the number of the applications that they are waiting for the approval reached 6,017 applications. The National Defense College celebrated the inauguration of the 4th National Defense Course for the start of the 4th academic year in the college. The course comes within the context of preparing and qualifying military and civil leaders to provide them with skills and knowledge that enables them to fill the strategic leadership positions. The course witnessed the participation of top officers of Sultan's Armed Forces, Royal Guard of Oman, Royal Oman Police, Royal Court of Affairs, and a number of governmental units. Now for the general weather forecast around the Sultanate. Partly cloudy skies will prevail over the coastal areas of the Governorate of Dhofar and its nearby mountains, with intermittent drizzle. Rest of the Sultanate will have clear skies and low clouds, and fog late at night and early morning are expected over most of the coast of the Arabian Sea. Winds will be easterly to northeasterly light to moderate over the coast of the Sea of Oman, while on the coastal areas of the Arabian Sea it will be southwesterly moderate to active. Seas will be rough along the coast of the Arabian Sea with a maximum wave height of 3 meters and slight along the rest of the coast with a maximum wave height of 1.25 meters. This is the Sultanate of Oman television. Before we end tonight's bulletin, here are the main points once again. The Ministry of Oil and Gas announces the new pricing for oil products for September with a slight increase. World Tourism Organization puts the Sultanate among the best 10 Arab countries in terms of tourism revenues. And main sectors in the Sultanate, such as banking, oil and gas, are achieving high Omanization rates in all job levels. With that, we come to the end of tonight's news bulletin. From all of us here at the newsroom and the studios, it's good night.